Welcome to No Holds Barred on SRB Radio, where we look at the beautiful game through the eyes of former Notts County, Birmingham City, Sheffield United, Watford, Walsall and Scotland international winger Paul Devlin. Supporting the Jeff Astle Foundation and sponsored by MIBRS. Dev, how you doing?
I'm good, mate, thanks.
How's the last couple of weeks been? And more importantly, or most importantly, how's it been with young Annie and the family?
Yeah, she's been not too bad. Obviously, we get good days and bad days with it, but not too bad in general. Was working all over the Easter holidays at summer camp, so sod's law, it rained every day when we had the kids there from 10 till 3 in Bromsgrove and Erdington. But they still had a great time, and and the kids done brilliant. So yeah, just been busy, mate, really.
So the Easter camps, apart from it rained, because we've had our summer.
Yeah,
we had it a couple of days
that
ago,
couple of days.
Yeah. How did it go? Did you have a good turnout with all the boys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't have as many as we normally get down to the weather, because I think people that hadn't booked in advance looked and they saw the rain, and we did a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in Erdington, and a Monday through to Friday in Bromsgrove. But we still had a good turnout, and the kids still had a really good time. We're fortunate that with the younger age group, the reception and year one, we can get them inside. So they stay dry, but the older lads love it outside, and the girls, sliding around in the mud, getting stuck in. So it's good because we have them for 5 hours, whereas normally we only have them for 1 hour once a week. So all the competitions and different things that it takes us a 12-week term to do, we can do in a 4 or 5 day period. So it was great, and obviously just gearing up now for the 5-day summer camps, which will kick in the summer holidays.
So were they more or less the same kids that attend your schools generally every week?
Yeah, you get a lot that come to the weekly courses, and you also get some that come to the holiday courses, but don't come to the weekly courses because they're probably at clubs or different things, or they have activities on their particular evening where we do the training in their area. Yeah. So we get a mixture of both.
So Monday night, you do it 5 nights a week, don't you? Yeah. Let's briefly go through what nights you do, what and where.
Well, Monday evenings I'm in Erdington at the Erdington Academy from 5 till 8. It's 3-hour blocks, so it'll be reception in year 5:30 to 8:30, I should say. So it'll be reception year 1 the first hour, year 2 and 3 the second hour, years 4 plus the last hour. Tonight, Grace Academy, Chelmsley Wood, same format. Wednesday, Rugeley Community Centre, same format. And then Thursday back in Erdington. Friday we used to be Chester, but we don't go to Chester now. And Saturday mornings is Bromsgrove from 9 till 12. So busy with it. So
do any of the kids do a couple of nights, or is it just pretty much they go to the Erdington or they go to the Bromsgrove?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Erdington's the only place where we do 2 nights a week, and it is predominantly a different set of kids that come on a Monday to a Tuesday, because obviously, kids do other things. They'll do swimming, they'll do cobs, gymnastics, whatever. You do get the odd few that'll swap over and do Monday and Thursdays, but in general, Thursday's crowd is different to Mondays.
And how much does it cost kids, and how can they get involved with your?
Yeah, I mean, there's Facebook. There's obviously I put things out on Twitter, and then there's a website, pauldevlinfootballcoaching.co.uk. It's £20 a month if you pay monthly for 4 sessions. So if you break that down, it breaks down to £5 a week. If you just want to come the odd week and pay weekly, it's £6 a week. So pretty affordable to everyone.
Yeah, it is. Now, you're going to have some games. You've got a game of football on the back burner, and you've also hopefully got a Legends Lounge Q&A. Do you want to just briefly talk about that?
Yeah, I've obviously, I won't go into it in depth at the moment. People are aware that my daughter's been diagnosed with this quite serious illness, and we want to do a couple of events for her, basically. So Tom Ross and Kev Broadhurst have very kindly given me a date for a game with the All-Stars. So it's the 21st of October at Tally-Ho in town against the West Midlands Police veterans team. We're going to try and make a bit of a family day of it, have a few things going on while we're there, and obviously the match and a beer and something to eat, and maybe a raffle after. I'm in the process of trying to sort out, hopefully, it'll be around about the 12th of October as well. That'll be a sort of question answer and tribute night at the Legends Lounge at St Andrews, all being well and getting confirmation for that. So I'm hoping to get half a dozen players down, probably the likes of Tatey, Oppie, Jono, Martin O'Connor, Horse, whoever can come down and do a Q&A for an hour, and then we've got a John Holt tribute act lined up for after that. So a bit of a reggae night, and hopefully get a bit of food and that on, and Q&A, and just have a good laugh, and obviously push the game for the 21st of October that week, and try and sell a few programmes and that, and look at doing a raffle and an auction, just stuff like that. I mean, it's strange because down the years I've done a million things for charity, been involved in lots of events, but I've never actually tried to organise one myself, and it's quite a daunting task when you look at everything that's involved with setting up a game, setting up a night. I've been lucky that a lot of people have been willing to help. It's something ideally that I never wanted to do.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my daughter's got this condition now, and I want to try and help her as much as I can, as everyone will expect.
And John Holt, are you a big fan?
Not massive. Obviously, I do like reggae, but I'm funny. I've got no one sort of genre of music that I like. I could like heavy metal one day, and I'd listen to a bit of Kenny Rogers the next day. I'm not really, this is my music. I like anything. I've got broad taste, but I'm looking forward to it, mate. If it all pans out, it'll be a good night.
And who's going to host it, Tom?
Haven't spoke to Tom yet, so Tom,
sure
if he's listening to this, expect a phone call. Yeah, I'd love Tom to do it, and Tom's brilliant, and he's been fantastic since Annie's been diagnosed with the Addisons. And Kev Broadhurst have really, really helped me and the family. So I'll ask Tom. I'd love Tom to do it, and I'm sure if he's available, he'll do it.
Because that's the thing, these people don't get the credit that they deserve. No, they get a lot of stick, but they don't get the credit.
I was at an event a few weeks ago, and I was on the same table as Tom. And bear in mind, Tom won't mind me saying this. Tom's no spring chicken, and he'd been out the house and on the go for something like 13 or 14 hours. And he was still yet to go up on stage, and I think it was Robin Reid he was talking to, the ex-boxer, and that would have finished 11, 12 o'clock. So, he's out all day and night giving his time, and anything to do with blues, and especially the old boys. He's always willing to help. So it doesn't go unnoticed amongst us, but maybe sometimes people don't realise the amount that Tom actually does do for people in the community and different charities. He does a hell of a lot.
And he was on the Tilton Talk show last night.
Great.
And I did see on Facebook, because when I see stuff like that, I'll always jump to defend Tom, because I think he does a great job. We disagree on a lot of things.
Yeah, but that's okay.
I'll always back him up on that. Somebody did say, and I did nearly fall off my chair laughing, that Tom isn't actually a blues fan.
Wow.
I mean, that is the most ridiculous thing that I'd ever heard.
Well, if the bloke's obviously never met Tom and had a conversation with Tom, I mean, it's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. That he's as dyed-in-the-wool blue nose as you'll ever meet, Tom.
Yeah, and a top lad as well. Right, Sheffield United, Birmingham City, you were at the game.
I was.
Where'd you watch it from?
I watched the first half with my mate over the main stand. Yeah. And then I watched the second half with the Sheffield United directors who kindly invited me in the director's box. So it was nice to go in there and watch a game. It was great to see some old faces. Obviously, I had four really enjoyable years at Sheffield. Good game. I felt Blues deserved to win it, as the Sheffield directors did. Unfortunately, it looks like that's put the buck on them getting in the playoffs now. But first and foremost, I got asked a lot in the week leading up to it, where's your loyalties lying? Obviously Birmingham. So I did a couple of interviews in the ground. Said my ideal scenario would be Birmingham win today, obviously avoid relegation, Sheffield United get in the playoffs and beat Villa in the playoffs. So I think that kept everyone happy. It doesn't look like the second half of that's going to happen now. But it was a good game. I thought Blues done well. I mean, the turnaround under Monk's been fantastic. Just so much more positivity looking at the team and around the ground. And it was a bouncing atmosphere on Saturday. Great to see 24,000 Blue Noses there and as usual, in fantastic voice.
What's been the difference fundamentally with Gary Monk?
I think he's came in and he's been positive. Yeah. He's going to show, okay, looking at the squad on paper, anyone can tell the squad on paper is decent and more than good enough to hold the own in that league. As I've said before, is it a squad that's going to get us out of that league? Maybe not, who knows? But we were being too negative under Cottrell, setting up just not to get beat. Well, that's not good enough at St Andrews. We are good enough, and those players are good enough to have a go to win every game at St Andrews, whether that be Villa, Wolves, anyone like. We might come up short now and again, and that's normal. But we've got to go and try and beat teams at home. And I think it's just been positive. He's played more attacking players. He's got more people up the pitch. We're scoring more, we're creating more chances, therefore you got a chance of winning more games. So I just think he's came in. I think he's instilled a bit of belief in some players that maybe didn't really believe. And he said, listen, let's be positive, let's go and try and get out of it. And it looks, touch wood, that we're going to get out of it.
It ain't rocket science, is it, football? You keep that ball moving, you pass that ball forward, you have shots at goal, chances are you're going to score more goals.
Well, some of the games under Cottrell, it was one attempt on target, 2 attempts on target, 1 attempt on... So in a whole game.
Yeah.
So if you're only having one attempt on target, the best you can do is score one goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And in a lot of games, that's not good enough to win, especially at home. We should be teams like, no disrespect to the teams I'm going to mention, Barnsley and teams like that. You've got to be going after them to get 2 or 3 goals at St Andrews, and we're capable of doing it, especially when the crowd are like they were on Saturday and they're behind you like that. And you score goals and you create chances, the crowd then, they get involved as well. Nothing worse, because I've seen it myself. You sit there and you think, how boring is this? Nothing's happening in the game. We've had one attempt on goal. You've got to give the people something to shout about.
Football, at the end of the day, it's an entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you want to, okay, you want your team to win.
Yeah.
You come away, you've got to be 5-4, you ain't best pleased.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've got to try, especially at home, set your team up to try and win a game.
Well, life's hard enough and can be depressing enough at
Exactly.
times without paying whatever you pay on a Saturday to go and watch your game and being bored or frustrated. I mean, look at that game the weekend. Was it Hull Bristol 5-5?
Yeah, it was.
Now,
was it football or hockey?
Now, people who have been at that game will talk about that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And that's the way football should be. You want to go and you want to talk about Tatey's golden goal and the T-shirt.
Yeah.
You want talking points like that in football. Whoever you support, you don't want to go down and be bored and see no action.
We can go anywhere and be bored.
Yeah.
But when you go to football, you want to be
entertained. Listen, I think everyone's clever enough to realise you can't win every game. And in some games, you're going to play rubbish, you're going to be outclassed, and it's going to be a bad game. But in general, people will go with that as long as they see that majority of the time you're trying to do the right things.
And if you're going down, go down fighting.
Yeah, go down fighting, have a go.
Yeah.
I don't think any fan will criticise a team for not being good enough, because at the end of the day, if they're not good enough, they're not good enough.
Exactly.
It's when they are good enough and they go down, that's when you get criticised, and rightly so.
And that's in any sport as well. I mean, look at Le Greco.
Yeah.
What a waste of time that was.
Well, the only thing you can ever do, I think, in work, life in general, is try your best. And if your best's not good enough, and a lot of the time your best isn't good enough for whatever, then that's not a problem. I think it's when you don't give your all, and you leave something. Bruce used to say, don't leave anything out there. You got to put your all in. So I think if you do that, then obviously people will question you. And more importantly, you got to question yourself.
But again, whether you're Steve Bruce and you're managing Birmingham or Villa, as he's going to in the playoffs, when I did with my kids, I always used to say, don't come back in this dressing room moaning that you could have done something.
Yeah.
The time to do it is out there on the football pitch and in life. In anything that you do, we say 45 seconds. You prepare for a fight. You prepare for a game of football. In footballing terms, I guess you're preparing to play, and then you turn the team over like 10-11-0, and you score 7 goals. I mean, it's flattering, but it's pretty pointless, isn't it?
Well, I think with the boxing now, and I don't know whether Eddie Hearn and Matchroom have got a lot to do with this. I think the people are being conned a little bit. How many pay-per-views is there now? Seems to be 1 or 2 every month. And most of them are just cannon fodder. People will pay for the big fights, but I think it's just getting overhyped. To me, it's getting almost like the WWE.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But I mean, I don't know how much people would have paid to go to watch that, but 45 seconds and it's game over. In football terms, it's equivalent, I would say, going down watching a game and being 7, 8, 9-0 down after half time. It's not even a contest, so it'd be disappointing. Listen, obviously Amir Khan will be happy.
Well, yeah.
But again, it's all.
But will he though, Dave?
It's all building up, isn't it? Obviously, Khan's been out the ring for 2 years. Is there any massive fights at world level out there for him? No, I doubt it. So it's right. Let's get the Cal Brook thing bubbling. Brook, obviously, he's had a couple of defeats now. The last big payday for them pair is each other. So it's going to be 2 or 3 fights either. You slag him, he slags you, and then it's a big stadium fight and everybody earns millions again. It's all sort of... it's all set up. It's all staged. It's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And they'll fight and they'll probably get a few million each and it might be a good fight.
Another game on Saturday, well, certainly the weekend. Rangers versus Celtic. The last one didn't go very well for Rangers, did it?
No. And I sent out quite a few texts telling some of my Rangers fans about Tatey was very quiet, I must admit. I think Celtic can win the league, can't they? Celtic can win the league again. I mean, Rangers, listen, with what's happened to them, I don't think anyone really expects them to be challenging Celtic. The club behind the scenes, obviously, I keep monitoring it and the old man keeps telling me different things, that they're in desperate. However, that club, because let's be honest, they're a huge club with a huge fan base. How big
are Rangers in a world sense, Dev? in your opinion?
Well, obviously, you got to look. The last few years have took a massive dent, but Rangers and Celtic, I would easily put them in the top 10 clubs in the world.
Yeah,
easily. And people go, well, yeah, Scottish football's Mickey Mouse, and I agree. The league is poor, but what you have to put into perspective is Celtic will get 2 or 3 million for winning the Scottish Premier League.
Yeah.
Albion, what will they get? 100 million for being relegated. And then you look historically in the last 10, 15 years, Celtic have actually got through to the group stages of the Champions League. All right, they've been hammered a few times, but that is for the resources and the money they've got, the size of the country and the TV money it's a massive achievement. It makes me laugh when people say Rangers and Celtic down there, no good. Stick Rangers and Celtic in the Championship at this moment with those teams would struggle. Well, not struggle. I think Celtic wouldn't win it, but they'd hold their own. But those clubs within 5 years have having access to the money that the English teams have down here would be in the Premier League, challenging for the Premier League, because their fan bases are as big as any. Now, people don't like to hear that, but in my opinion, it's a fact. It's an absolute fact.
So if we're looking at British football, I mean, I posted this up some time ago. Who would you say is your number one in terms of like size of a British football?
Well, you'd have to say Manchester United, I would think, as a brand.
I agree. That's number one for me.
Yeah.
Who's number two?
Well, yeah, I mean, you look historically, Liverpool were massive.
That's my number two.
So probably Liverpool.
Number three. British.
I think then you got to be looking Celtic, Rangers, teams like that. I mean, obviously you're going to get people at Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City. Yeah. But you know, realistically, Man City and Chelsea.
No,
recently
I agree.
Been massive. Yeah. You're looking back historically. I mean, like I say, I don't know. I might be wrong. Somebody might say, well, they're big. But I think, you know, with the fan base Celtic and Rangers have got, people that don't know about them, they're huge clubs, but they've got no money. Yeah. You give them 5 or 10 years and access to the money. If ever they got into the Premier League and they had access to the money and they could pay the wages. Gordon Strachan was on TalkSport last night, and he was saying, and this is top players, I've seen it quoted by Messi, lots of different players. Best atmosphere they've ever played in a European night at Celtic Park. Yeah. You know, you're talking 60,000 people there. In the Premier League, I mean, they're going to get 60,000 week in, week out. Yeah. So you imagine the atmosphere. Players will want to play there. If you can couple the size of the club, the size of the ground, the attendances, with being able to pay the players what they want, you're going to attract massive players to clubs like that. Players want to play at big clubs.
Totally agree. I had Arsenal as third.
Yeah, maybe Arsenal. You know. Yeah, but you know, Arsenal. I'm honest.
Listen, I'm not of now.
I'm biased because I've got Celtic. You know, I like Celtic. But there's some huge clubs out there. But you can't discount Celtic and Rangers.
I had then Celtic fourth and Rangers fifth. Because I think in the top 5 of British football, for me, you've got to put Rangers and Celtic in there when you look at everything, because they're both massive clubs. I'd love to see them play in the Premier League or in the British League, but I don't ever think they will do, because the big clubs will vote against it. They fear Celtic and Rangers.
Exactly, and people don't realise that's why they won't get in, because the big clubs fear them, because it's going to be 2. They know it's not like, no disrespect, with Huddersfield getting into the Premier or Stoke being in the Premier or
Kittens
Albion.
And cats, mate.
They know that they would challenge. Within 5 or 10 years, they would challenge, because they are huge clubs. That's why they don't want it. And also, Scottish football will collapse. It'll be even weaker than it is now. So I think it's a double-edged sword. You know, people go on about Celtic and Rangers. They don't do no good in Europe. You look at it's not a fair playing field.
No, it's not.
The money that they've got to deal with. Celtic getting to the group stages of the Champions League is massive, a huge achievement in my opinion.
And Wenger, he's gone.
Yeah, obviously he's a bit bitter about it, isn't he, from his interview? But it's a shame, because great programme on last night, The Feud. Did you see it?
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, about did you watch it? Yeah, it was good. About the feud between Wenger and Fergie. But it's a shame, because let's be honest, he's by a million miles Arsenal's best ever manager. There should be building statues of him. Yeah. He said something which was, you know, spot on. He said, a 19, 20-year-old kid now has only ever grew up with me as manager. Let me tell you, that will be different now. You know, you're never going to get managed. Very rare you get a manager stop 5 years, let alone 22. He has outstayed his welcome. The fans obviously have quite clearly said that. I think the big thing was the empty seats the last game or two. Now, Americans and owners, they look at that. Yeah. So I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think he's been asked to walk before he was pushed. And it's a shame because he's probably stopped 3 or 4 years too long. But I think Arsenal fans won't realise till they look back in 10 years' time what they had. Look at Kerbishley all them years at Charlton, and they wanted him out. Went out, we're at Charlton now. You got to be careful what you wish for. I think it is time for him to go. It'd be great to see him get a brilliant send-off because I think, regardless of the last 2 years, he deserves it. And it still makes me laugh. He's won trophies in the last couple of years, and everyone's lambasting Wenger. And they all say that Pochettino's a genius, who's won nothing, by the way, and he's going to win nothing again. Yeah. Now, even I was listening on the radio yesterday, the Spurs fans are turning around saying, well, if he doesn't win anything in the next 12 months, he hasn't won anything. No. And everyone's raving about Spurs and Pochettino. Strange game.
But you see, when I was a kid growing up, it was Aston Villa had won the FA Cup 7 times. And I think Tottenham did, when they won it in 81, did they make it then 7 times?
Yeah, I think they equalled it, didn't they? And Arsenal have overtaken them now, haven't they?
Well, the thing is, for me, in Wenger's time at Arsenal, he won it 7 times.
Yeah, amazing.
So when you're looking at from 1872, when we had the first one, through to like now, up to like the 80s, there's only been one team that had won it 7 times. Yeah. Wenger's won it 7 times in 22 years. He's won the championship 3 times. He's won 2 doubles.
Amazing.
I think it was a masterstroke, what's gone on really with Arsenal, because I watched the game against West Ham. And again, typical. I mean, their Achilles heel is their defending. Yeah. They can't defend. Let West Ham back in the game. But the crowd was behind Arsenal, and they found that energy. And at the end of it, they run out 4-1 winners, which it wasn't a 4-1 game. No. I think they can do that now against Atletico Madrid. I think that they have now got the impetus and the fans behind them where they can have a good go at Madrid.
Well, it'd be interesting, to see the fans' reaction if he was to go and win the Europa League. It's a big ask against Atletico. Yeah. But it was great watching this programme last night, and because it interviewed players from Arsenal and Manchester United. And Paul Scholes said an interesting thing. He said Wenger got away from what he had in his good teams, which was steal and fight with the likes of Keown and Vieira and people like that. He said you always knew you were in for a fight. He said, and then the last few years he's got away from that, and it's all flair. He said if you want to be a team that dominate, you've got to have that. You've got to have that bit of steel. Because it showed you when Keown was going mad at Van Nistelrooy and he missed a penalty. And I remember playing against the Invincibles. That was the first year we got up, was the Invincible season, our first full season. And as good as they were, if you wanted to fight with them in a battle, they could have a battle as well as play you off the park. And I think latterly he's just gone for purely flair and no fight, and it's been his downfall.
And small players that are very similar, either a winger or an inside forward.
It does frustrate me though when people say, well, he needs to sign a Vieira or he needs to sign a Bergkamp. Hard to get those players. They don't come along very often. No. I'm sure anyone go and get me a Vieira, go and get me a Henry, a Bergkamp. You got to find him, and I think what he'd done at first, he had access to the young French market, which nobody else knew about. And it was really fascinating to see Keown and David Seaman, people talk about how he changed the culture at the club. The food, he said straight away, changed the food, the diet in the canteen, and obviously the drinking culture sort of got booted out. So I think he was a trailblazer with that. He sort of set the mark where everyone started changing the diet and the training and the attitude towards nutrition and stuff like that. He's got to take a lot of credit for that.
Because again, when they went away on England duties, the first thing that Fergie used to say to the Man United players, what was they eating? Yeah. What were they doing? Because Wenger had got that one up on Fergie in terms of diet and
etc. Well, I think, judging by him, he's very studious on everything. David Dean said nothing. Every detail he looks into, nothing's left to chance. They were putting creatine on cornflakes and stuff like that, probably before anyone had heard or knew what creatine did.
I thought that's something you put on your fence panels.
Creatine. The minute he was saying Martin Keown actually went to him in his first pre-season. He said, because we didn't think we were doing enough. I said, boss, we don't feel fit enough. We don't let it kick in. Mark, well, you'll be okay. And he said that season I probably felt fitter and stronger. So he was obviously a student of physiology and fitness and nutrition, and he really started the ball rolling with it. I don't think you'll get a club in the country now that hasn't got a fitness coach or a nutritionist. All that's down to him.
Do you think he got that from France or his time at Grampus 8?
I don't know. It'd be an interesting thing to find out where he did sort of study and learn all that. Because, let's be honest, when he got the job, nobody knew him. Yeah. Even the players, nobody had heard of him. But within a couple of years, he was the man, really enough, challenging Fergie. And you got to say, in Fergie's reign, he's probably was his biggest threat.
Because the Japanese are proper ahead, aren't they? In diet and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you look at their life expectancy. They've got the longest life expectancy. So the diet over there is very, very good. But fascinating documentary. I recommend anyone get a chance to watch it.
FA Cup semi-finals, both at Wembley again. Ticket pricing for the Wembley FA Cup final, £65 for certain seats, more than the semi-final. It can't be right, can it?
It's just ridiculous, and it just seems to, we talked about the boxing with the pay-per-view and the football. Just everything seems designed to squeeze every last penny, and that's not counting your drink when you go in there, or your programme, or a burger. Everything seems designed to squeeze every last penny out of people that want to go and watch football, boxing, maybe not so much rugby. But it's just, trying to bleed people dry by the sound of it.
And Tottenham being beat by Man United. Did you see that tweet by the FA?
No.
They got Chris Smalling and got Harry Kane peeping out of his pocket.
I heard something. I saw something mentioned about.
Now, if Man United had tweeted that up, or Smalling had done it himself, or a teammate of Smalling, you go, all right, you can understand that. It's quite humorous. But when the Football Association do it to one of their international players, given the World Cup's round the corner...
It's not a good idea when you're taking the piss out the player that everyone will be pinning their main hopes on scoring the goals to make England do well. And rightly so. If you was Harry Kane, you'd have the hump. Think, well, hang on a minute, this is the FA, they've got to be impartial. Like you say, you don't mind other players and your own players and a bit of banter. But I don't think it was the most well-advised move. And... I could see why Harry Kane had been... listen, it's water off a duck's back most of the time, but I could see why he'd be thinking, hang on a minute, the FA really shouldn't be... If Smalling had done it, fair enough, but the FA shouldn't really be doing it.
I remember Shearer getting the hump when they never rescinded a yellow card or a red card.
Well, I remember when he booted Neil Lennon in the face, and he didn't get the ban because the story behind the scenes was that he said he wouldn't go to the Euros or the World Cup if they banned him.
Yeah.
You'll never, ever see a more clearer kick in the face.
Yeah.
And the FA buckled because Shearer was the man.
But again, the FA, nothing really changes there. They are a spineless, bottless load of bastards, aren't they?
Yeah, and
those are the finer points.
Nothing truer when they're saying FA man.
Yeah.
It's just your stereotypical suit and this is right and that's right, which Southgate is.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it'll ever change the FA because I just think it's run by that sort of stamp of people.
And they all keep.
They all want it in-house.
Exactly,
they don't want anyone new into their club.
Don't rock this boat or the gravy train that we've created for ourselves. Going back to non-league football, I did notice a post on Facebook. Joe Brennan.
Yeah.
Talk to me about him.
A big part of my early football career. Big pals with his son Stephen, and obviously I know his other son James. His grandkids have come to my training. But basically, Joe, when I was sort of 16, 17 and I first left school, I went to Perry Common, which is now North Birmingham Academy. Yeah. But a lot of the lads I knocked about with went to Edmund Campion, and we all sort of started drinking and going in the pub, the New Inns in Erdington together. But Joe started a team, St Mary's and John Celtic, run from St Mary's and John Social Club, which was behind the church and Gravelly Hill in Erdington. And I just sort of drifted in playing for him. He'd done it all himself. He'd do the washing. He'd be putting the nets up. He'd be putting the nets down. He'd be collecting the subs, a real one-man band. And he'd done that for 20, 30 years, Joe. We had a really good team. O'Neill Donaldson, who's a big pal of mine, played for him as well. Who was pro at Sheffield Wednesday, Torquay. So down the years we had a good team, real good bunch of lads, real good atmosphere. We'd play at Jaffray playing fields. We'd go back in St Mary's and John's, have a drink. And that was really where I drifted back into, because I wasn't playing, because I was working as a trainee chef at the Post House Hotel. Oh, right. And I used to do split shifts. I'd do mornings, do evenings. And it was just because I used to have a drink with these lads, and Joe started the team. So I drifted back into playing Sunday. Was never in the team, always sub, because I couldn't get there every week and I couldn't be training. And I'll never forget, we played over in Tamworth in a cup final, and I was sub, and I came on for the second half with a cup final that we won. Don't ask me which cup it was. And Paul Wood, a Tamworth youth team scout, and Clive Lyons, God rest him, who's dead now. Both of them ended up as scouts at the Villa. They were scouting for Tamworth's youth team, and they asked me to go along to play in the Wednesday night league, which I did, and everything snowballed from there. Got in Tamworth's first team. So without Joe, I probably would have never got the foot on the ladder. And he passed away last week. Suffered with dementia towards the end, which was horrible. I feel so sorry for his family. We had a charity game for him a few months ago up at Boldmere Sports and Social. Yeah. So we all, all the old, some of the lads that I hadn't seen for 20 odd years. So that was good. But he was a fantastic fella. He was a proper football man. He's the type of person that goes unnoticed. But without him, most of these clubs don't exist. So it was a sad loss, and I'm sure there'll be a fantastic turnout for his funeral. And
it's not just that; it's like what he actually indirectly gives the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there was a group of 15, 20 lads that weren't doing anything on a Sunday morning. And now he knew, because Edmund Campion had a really good football team, some good players, but they just, obviously, we all found the pub and stopped playing. And he thought, well, no, these lads, they're too good not to be playing. Yeah. And Joe loved his football, so he started it up. Everyone jumped, and it ran for years and years and years until it got to the stage where, physically he couldn't run it anymore, which was a shame, because you'd have loved somebody to come and say, Joe, you just come and watch on a Sunday now. I'll take it all. I'll do this, I'll do that. But, it doesn't happen, unfortunately.
Sadly, that's my experience in football and junior football as well.
It's a shame. It's ever such a shame.
There's one person that's a very, very special person, and there's not many other people that help.
Well, it was great. I mean, we used to have a brilliant time. Like I say, we'd play on a Sunday, and then everyone would go back to St Mary's and John's, and we'd have a real happy times for me.
Unhappy times at Sunderland. How can you have a double relegation from the Premier League to the third division?
Well, there's something obviously drastically wrong at that club. I mean, I think it's been well documented that the owner, would leave tomorrow. He's got no interest in the club. Signings have been bad. To me, it looks like they've brought in a lot of poor foreign signings down, not just recently, down the last 3 or 4 years. Obviously paying mega money. Huge club, Sunderland. The fans are staying away, and it really does look like they could be, staring down oblivion. Huge club, Sunderland, and shouldn't be in that position. But the club's been badly run.
Now he wants to sell the club, but like with the fans not backing it and the money not coming in,
who's going to buy
he's
it?
In the third. Exactly, yeah. He's actually got to try and get it back up to where it was before. I mean, okay, not the Premier League, but back into the Championship, and do it pretty quickly. Yeah. Or take a massive hit, get the hell out of the club, and sell it to people that actually want it and have got a vision. Because as you rightly say, Sunderland Football Club is a massive club.
But like you say, it's all right saying sell it. Who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy it? I mean, he'll virtually have to give it away.
Well, this is what I'm saying to you.
And is he going? I don't know how much money he's put in. It will be substantial, I would think.
You're going to have to lose it all, pal.
And then, well, that's the only way he's going to. And it's one or two things. You either give the club away, or you say, right, I'm going to have to go again here. Yeah. I'm going to throw a load more money at it. Hopefully, get us back up the leagues into the Premier League. But now, obviously, you're talking minimum 2 years.
Oh.
And hope I can sell it then. Is he brave enough or wealthy enough to do that?
Or balmy enough?
Or balmy enough to do it, yeah. I mean, and then somebody coming in, whoever's coming in, let's be honest now, for a club the size of Sunderland and to get into the Premier League, you need a billionaire.
Yeah.
A multi-millionaire owner is not good enough. So you need a billionaire. I just think it could be a real dark period in Sunderland's history now.
Which will be an absolute shame.
Yeah, big club. You want the big clubs. You want them definitely in the top 2 divisions, if not the top league. So, it's going to be a shame, and difficult times up there.
Big clubs going head to head tonight. Liverpool and Roma. Yeah. How did you see that game, Dave?
Well, let's be honest. I don't think anyone would have bet on that being
Man City, Barcelona.
Would that being a fixture? So they're on fire, aren't they? The forward line and Salah and that have been fantastic. So you'd have to think that Liverpool will be strong favourites to win tonight. Italian teams sort of historically have had been good at defending. Yeah. So I think if they can keep it down to a 1-0 or even a 2-1, Roma will be over the moon. But it's going to be a good game. The game that nobody expected, really. Yeah.
And the bravest person on Merseyside tonight, the coach driver of Roma's.
Yeah,
official coach.
Well, Klopp's come out, hasn't he? And he's asked for the Liverpool fans not to throw anything at the coach or anything like that. So I think that they've played the PR game as well. Yeah. Roma, they've come straight in and gone to the Hillsborough Memorial. So I think they're trying to do their best to smooth things out and make sure that there's no trouble. But be an interesting game.
Mind you, I think there was. I mean, sadly that there was trouble there, but I think it was pretty much because it was Man City.
Yeah.
You know, I think if that had been Roma last time, I don't think that.
I think so.
I think the rivalry just went a little bit too far.
Yeah, they've got carried away, obviously, and they've done something they shouldn't. But you're right. I think that's purely to it being a local, Man City.
Gary Mander says, "Hi Paul, do you think that the Blues are safe now, and I wish that you were still playing?"
Well, definitely wish I was still playing.
Yeah.
I think if you ask any ex-player that, they'll say that. I'd like to see, just playing devil's advocate, I'd like to see us get another point on the board. Yeah. I think. More than lot, especially with that game, Forest Barnsley
tonight.
I think if Forest win that, then but 99.9% to me tells me that we'll be okay. But at the end of the day, it's Blues. Yeah. So I'd like another draw. If not, we're capable of going to QPR and winning. What I wouldn't fancy, to be perfectly honest, is going into the Fulham game. Think, well, we need something because they're like a steam train at the minute. So I'd like to see another draw and hopefully a win.
Having said that, by the time that we play Fulham, if Derby get beat tonight by Cardiff, and Cardiff win again the weekend, Cardiff are already in the Premier League by the time Birmingham play them.
Yeah, and I think obviously that will they be nailed on for third then, Fulham?
Yeah, so that they would rest probably more or less all of their players.
We were lucky the other year like that with Huddersfield, weren't we? So hopefully that is the scenario. But ideally, we don't need anything from that last game. So I'm hoping that we don't need anything.
So what do you reckon Saturday with Blues, an away win?
I think a draw would be enough. But, I think they've lost their last couple, haven't they, QPR? They've lost the last two games. So I'd like to see us go down there and try and get... We're capable of it. We're capable of going and getting a win.
How do players and teams, like, say, for instance, tonight, Nottingham Forest, Barnsley obviously going to be up for it. They're desperate for 3 points. But Forest aren't. They're home and hosed. They've got the ticket for the Championship next season, and so have Queen's Park Rangers on Saturday. How do them players approach the game where they're playing against a team that really needs it and really wants it? Do they take the field with their mind on their summer holidays, or do they, as a professional, still give it everything that they've got?
Well, the PR line would be, we're going out to win every game, and we'll give it everything. No, I think the hungrier team will always try harder. Yeah. Whether they're good enough, I don't know. But when you've got, it's quite a horrible stage to be in, really. As daft as this is going to sound, having nothing to play for is worse than being in a relegation and go back having... And that might sound stupid to some people because they'd say...
Pressure.
Well, I'd much rather have no pressure. But as a player, I always sort of really enjoyed the games where we've got to dig in today. Yeah. We've got to win, or we've got to get something. When it's like, well, we don't matter, win, lose or draw, it's not going to change anything. Yeah. I think they can get a bit lackadaisical, and I think that does, even if it's subconsciously with players, because there might be a 50-50 tackle there that think, well, hang on a minute, there's a real danger of me getting injured there. Well, it's not going to... But if if I don't win that ball, we might not get promoted or we're going down. You're thundering into it. So, but they will say, we're going out to win every game and it doesn't matter. But I think if you are safe and you've got nothing to play for, players do have a different mindset. Not all of them, but some of them.
Now, Nuno and your mate, Warnock, what did you make of that?
Well, first and foremost, I love Neil, as you know. But I do have to laugh because everything, when he moaned about Derby cancelling the game, when he moaned about Nuno, everything he moans about, he's a master at. Yeah. And he's done it up 10 times down. So it is pot calling the kettle black. I can't stand that Nuno myself, to be perfectly honest with you, because I was listening on the radio and I saw brief bits when we played there the other week. Every time there was anything physical, and I know it's a ploy, he has one of his coaches permanently on, because I've been told by people in the know, permanently on the fourth official. Every time there's something physical, they're on the fourth official, they're on the referee. Yeah. I'm thinking, listen, it's a contact game. Listen, they've been the best team in the league by a mile. Congratulations, well done. They deserve to go. And I had, on Twitter, there was a few people slagging me, saying, Blues are this and Blues are that, and from one of the dirtiest cheats ever, and this and blah, 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 and Blues just tried to kick them. Well, if you're playing a team that's miles better than you do try and kick them.
Of course you do.
When we played the Invincibles, in that year, what do you think our manager says? Right, lads, let's go toe-to-toe football-wise with them. Kick lumps out of them and hope that you get something. Yeah. So the game is still a contact game. I hate it when I see players rolling round, managers all round the fourth official, players... and it's gone on for a number of years. But to me, it's like they don't. If you're the best team, you're going to get more physical treatment because, and it's almost like a little sign of respect.
Yeah.
Players are going to try and kick you because they know they're not good enough to stay with your footballers. But I hate that side of them. But I do have to laugh at Warnock because all the things he moans about, he's done a million. And I've been there and seen that with he done. When he got the match abandoned. Tried to get the match abandoned, whatever, at the Battle of Bramall Lane, got it abandoned, stuff like that, calling it off.
Wasn't it Brownie off?
He was saying about Derby called the game off. Of course, they only had 10 fit players. He'd have done exactly the same. And I think a couple of days later, when he calmed down, he actually did come out and say, well, I'd have done the same. Yeah. So I think it's heat at the moment with Neil. He's getting on a bit now, Neil, but he doesn't seem to be mellowing in his old age. But if he gets them up, obviously it's a record promotion for him, isn't it? And let's be honest, with the budget Cardiff have got, to get them up this season, as he rightly says, will probably be his biggest achievement.
But there's a lot of people that go, I hate Warnock, he's an horrible bastard.
People that don't know him.
Exactly. But that's just what your manager to be like. He's our horrible bastard anyway.
Well, if he's at your team, I mean, look at what he did with Rotherham the other year when he took them over dead and buried, kept them up. Yeah. And he keeps saying he's going to retire, but somebody still wants him. Cardiff wanted him. Blah, blah. Yeah. If you've played for him or you've been at a club where he's had success. Listen, even Sheffield U fans don't like some of his antics, and because he's gone now. So, but he's done brilliant. Look at his record. If he gets him up, it will be his 8th promotion, which will be an unbelievable record. And really, he's never had a club that's had pots and pots of money to spend. So you got to take your hat off to him. I always said to a lot of my Blues mates, the years where Blues were getting to the playoffs, Barnsley, Watford, Preston. If they'd have had Warnock in charge then, he would have got them over the finish line, without a doubt.
Because again, that's what you need, that manager that ruffles a few feathers. You know what you're going to get with Warnock. I mean, I'd love to listen to his team talk before they go out at Derby tonight. I mean, he won't leave anything unturned. No. He will just, and again, you've played for him, you know the man. I'm guessing you give 100% for Warnock and he'll forgive you anything else. But if you don't give 100%, he'll knock you out.
That's it. He very much like that. Yeah. If you do well for him, he'll look after you. Yeah. If you take the piss or he doesn't think you're giving everything you got, he'll be horrible. And I mean vile to you. But most managers like that.
But how easy is it to work for somebody like that? You know exactly where you stand and how you're going to be treated.
The good thing about Neil as well, he'll forgive you little misdemeanours and he'll let you get away with things as long as your good things outweigh your bad things. So, with me, sendings off or stuff like that, he used to forgive me that because he knew when I played, I'd do okay 100%.
For him. Kev Kelly said, "Hi, Paul and Gabby. What are the pre-requests for Gary Monk staying at Blues for next season?"
Well, how long's he signed? Has he just signed to the end of the season or has he signed a year?
I think he signed to the end of the season and then they're going to evaluate where they are and if he wants it or if he doesn't want it.
So it's going to be not the case of if we want Gary Monk, it's if Gary Monk wants us?
I think pretty much so, yeah.
Well, listen, I think it's looking like we're going to stay up. The football's been a lot better. The feel around the place has been a lot better. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. You've got to offer him something now. Playing devil's advocate, looking at it from his point of view, he's going to probably take a step back and say, look,
my stock's up.
My stock's high. I've stopped Blues from relegation. What's my investment? What have I got money to spend? Can I bring players in? What's the long-term view of the club? Where do the club want to be in 12 months' time? If that tallies up with what he wants, it's a massive club. He seems to have enjoyed his time here. He's been welcomed with open arms. Hopefully, the club and him both see a vision, and he stays. But who knows?
Big game tonight, Dev, is Volante versus Witchell in the Premier League Cup at Boldmere. Keep right on.
Yeah, it can be tough. Witchell are a good team. Witchell are a really good team, so it'll be tough for Volante. There'll be a few lads walking funny at them veterans over 35s after an hour and a half and possibly extra time on that AstroTurf. So, it'll be a good game.
So, what is the bigger game then, Dev, tonight? That or Liverpool versus Roma?
The Witchell-Volante game, surely.
Neil Warnock, like Robbie Savage, then Marmite, love him on your side, hate him in opposition. Absolutely very much, bang on, innit? Loved Neil's comment, weather permitting.
Yeah, obviously. Well, I saw Gary Rowett interviewed and it seemed to not Gary Rowett. seemed to nark him because he was on about
Would
it.
you think that's what he's trying to do?
Yeah.
Nark him, piss him off before we play?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Get under his skin. God, who was a master at it?
Yeah.
Fergie,
Yeah.
Mourinho. The top managers in the world do it. Well, you know, Warnock's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's no different. And it seemed to have got to the interview I saw with Gary Rowett at his press conference yesterday. It did seem to irk him a little bit.
Yeah.
But they've, just moving on to them. If they don't get to the playoffs, Gary Rowett, I think, is going to be under real pressure for his job because the fan base, the squad,
big club
the
derby,
the money he's got,
Yeah.
they should be in the playoffs all day long. And it'll be interesting to see how the tide turns with him.
And he has had a bit of a bad time. And I remember they got beat. The live game?
A lot of people questioning.
Sunderland done them.
Yeah, Sunderland.
Sunderland Hammond. See Jono's face.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, that I see on Twitter are questioning.
Yeah.
Because they're saying one-dimensional, has
Yeah.
got no plan B.
Yeah.
Now, there's a different pressure, and we've touched on this before. When he got the job at Blues, it was very much of, there you go, that's what you've got. No choice, no budget, no money, no big players. Players at Derby on 40, 50 grand a week. Yeah. And it's a different pressure when you go from having a set of players to work with, you can't change them, to like, you've got a bit of choice. Who are you going to bring in? What are you going to pay him? Brings it, some managers are good at it, some managers don't. Look at Moyes when he went to Man U.
Yeah.
At Everton, where he had to work with what he had, he's got to Man U and it's a kid in a sweet shop and different pressure. And I think you got to say, if he doesn't get him in the playoffs, it's a big failure for him.
I think it could almost lead to his exit at Derby.
I do.
People say, that sounds stupid. You're having a laugh. No. In the game of football today...
I think you bang on.
Yeah. When a manager got 4 games in the Premier League... I'm sorry, Derby need to get into them playoffs in the Premier League, and if he can't do it, they'll get
the powers that be at Derby will look, and they'll say, well, look at our budget, look at our wage bill, look at our playing squad, and he'll compare it to others that are there, if they don't get into the playoffs, if they might get into the playoffs and win it, and then he's a hero. And I think they'll ask questions. If that's the case and they don't make it, they'll ask big questions of him.
Imagine that. Cardiff either do or don't, and... Derby say, hey, Mr. Weatherman, do you want to come and get us over the line here at Derby?
Well, I mean, Warnock's openly come out and said that the spells that he's had in the Premier League, he doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And what would happen? He's right. He said, "I'd get him up. We'd struggle and they'd sack me."
Yeah.
Rather than do what Burnley have done with Dyche and give him a chance to go up, down, and that probably would be the case. So it wouldn't surprise me if he gets Cardiff up, he walks away. I mean, Warnock's, I think he's 70 odd now. He's got a lovely big place down south. He loves it down in Devon or Cornwall. He lives. How many more times is he going to go to the well? He said the last 3 jobs have been his last job. But if he was to leave Cardiff and Derby or someone of that ilk didn't go up, there's no finer man to have a go for a year and say, listen, they'll get us out this league. And you never know. If it's right, he might do it.
But again, when it's in your blood, Dev, it's in your blood, innit? If somebody says to you, all right, you're retired pro football now, but Dev, come and play for us for another couple of seasons, you ain't turning that down, are you? No, and the same as a manager, it's in your blood, it's
hard, and I think as well, if he was to leave at the end of the season, he'd have a lot of chairmen ringing him to tempt. So we'll have a lot of choices, Neil, at the end of the season.
Jason said, I thought that Monk had signed a 3.5-year deal as well.
Yeah, I thought that.
But I mean, again, what we're saying is, he probably has, but how many players and managers have you seen sign deals and then somebody's looked at the job that they've done, offered them more money and they've gone, I've signed it, but see ya.
Well, it means nothing.
It doesn't mean
it does. But I think what that does, I think we'd have been more in danger of losing him if we go down.
I think he would have definitely gone.
I think he would have definitely gone. So, I did think that all his staff had signed 3.5 years.
Yeah, I think they pretty much have.
I just hope that obviously we stay up first and foremost, which I think 99% certain we're going to do. He has a sit down with the powers that be at the club, and he says, right, this is what I want moving forward. We are going to be challenging for playoffs next season.
But again, you know how contracts work, Dev. It probably is a 3.5-year deal. As long as we stay in the Championship, then it triggers that 3.5 years deal. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that would be sensible.
Yeah, and nobody is privy to know what's in these damn contracts these days and how easy it is for players and managers to wriggle out of them, because in every contract, it strikes me, there's a little bit of wriggle room for both parties.
And are they worth the paper?
No,
that
I don't think they are, to be truthful.
It's a little bit of I was surprised that the club gave out 3.5. Not many clubs are giving out 3.5-year contracts because you got to pay them up basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So obviously, if that, the club obviously see him as a long-term fixture, and I think with what's gone on the last 18 months, 2 years, they do need someone. Blues need someone now that they're going to say, right, next 3 years,
stability. Yeah.
Hopefully, he gets back in the summer.
How do you think Fabrini would do under Monk?
Well, to me, Fabrini's Jota.
Yeah.
He's very, very similar players. Was it necessary to bring Jota in and 6.5 million big when we've got a player like Fabrini?
Yeah.
They're two very, very similar players. I don't know. I always get the feeling both lads have got real good ability. And it's an awkward one because they are the type of players they are. They're not run around, snotters, get stuck in like a Martin O'Connor type. And how we've struggled this season doesn't suit them. Because we've been in a battle. And you can't expect your flair players to, like Jonathan Hunt when I first went to, a great fair player, but didn't like a tackle. If you're doing well, brilliant. If you stuck Jota or Fabrini probably in the Wolves team, they'd be in the team of the year. So it's been awkward for them. I think they're very similar. I think it'd be a big ask to fit them both in the team. I really do.
But like you say, when you're in that battle, and when you're down there amongst the dead men, you got to roll your sleeves up and fight, ain't you?
You need your Clifton Bells, you need your Davises and people like that. There's a time and a place for your flair players because they can win you games. They can do something out of nothing and win you a game. But it hasn't been that type of season for Blues where we've needed that type of player a lot of the time.
I mean, Brian Hughes was another one. Typical
Hughes.
example. I mean, I'd watch him score a worldie and then I'd say to the old man, I ain't going to see him now for 3 months.
Yeah, but those players can do that. It's just,
How frustrating is it though, Dave, playing with them players?
It is frustrating because you might see them not quite go into a tackle how they should.
Yeah, definitely.
Or not quite run as much as they should. But they're not. Malcolm Page hit it on the head. And I said this the other week, talking about Bob Latchford.
Yeah.
He said the defenders would fucking go mad at Bob. And you ain't closed him down, you ain't done this, you ain't put a tackle in. He said, by the end of the season, he scored 35 goals. Yeah. So you forgive, as long as they're doing what they're good at, you forgive them their the shortcomings. When you got a flair player like Hughesy, Jota, people like that, you're not expecting them to go and win every header. And that's why you got Martin O'Connor in the team.
Exactly.
That's why you got somebody else in the team who's going to go and win the ball. So it's finding that balance.
Yeah. And also with a player like Jota and Jonathan Hunt and Brian Hughes, you want them centrally where they can hurt teams.
You want them on the ball.
Win the ball, give it him.
Yeah, the one thing I would say about Jota, I mean, he's played wide majority of the time. He's not strong or quick enough to go past people, in my opinion. And because he's, like most left-footers, very, very one-sided, he's a bit predictable.
Yeah.
So if he's playing right wing, all I would do
coming inside,
show him down the right all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault. He's been asked to do a job there and he's trying his best. But you want him centrally where they can maybe possibly go left or right, and his vision comes into play, and in the centre of the box where he can turn and get shot away rather than out wide, and he might be asked to cross it on his right foot, which he can't do. But he's doing a job for the team, and he's had a good run the last few weeks.
And in and around that box with quick feet, get a penalty as well.
Yeah, you want your players with ability on the ball.
Definitely. FA Cup semi-final. Going back to that, disallowed goal. Did you see it? Our goalkeeper's an endangered species.
Oh, you can't go near a keeper, can you? You cannot go near a keeper, and it does my head in because if you're chasing a bouncing ball, a keeper who's normally a foot bigger than you anyway can come out and get his knee and his feet up and smash you in the face, and it's okay. Keepers can use their hands. Yeah. So even if you're challenging with a keeper, he's going to have a 3 foot reach and you can't challenge him for a header. To me, the most overprotected players on the pitch, goalkeeper. Get away with murder. Yeah. Get away with goalies. Absolute murder.
And again, I didn't see anything wrong with it. The ball's come up. He's jumped with the goalkeeper. He didn't jump into the goalie. Yeah. He's jumped up. The ball's come. He's fumbled it, dropped it over the line, and free kick on the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I just think it's at the stage now where it's almost an unwritten law with referees. Yeah. You can't actually challenge him, let alone foul him. You can't challenge a keeper. I remember playing Fulham, and Sav chased the ball down. Van der Sar was in goal, and he came out and he just kicked Sav in the face. Yeah. He's got the ball, he's got his feet up, kicks it. How's it not a penalty? Not only did he not give a penalty, he gave the foul against Sav. Yeah. And you see keepers doing that all the time, and yet They jump in to catch a ball. They get a little nudge. They go down the mound, and the referee gives a foul.
I mean, do you remember that? What was the World Cup? Was it 82? Schumacher and Battiston.
Yeah. Well, there was a documentary on, and they were on about that. And apparently, Battiston still gets headaches to this day.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like hitting a brick wall.
And he got away with it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got away with it, Schumacher. I mean, it was brutal. I think he busted about 3 ribs and lost about half a dozen teeth, didn't he? But they get away with it. Keepers get away with murder.
Jeanette, what do you think about women talking football?
Do you want the politically correct answer,
Dev,
or do you want the truth?
No holds barred. We say it as we see it. I'm sick of all the bullshit that we keep hearing, all throughout the land. You can't say this, you can't say that. We say it as we see it. Right,
it's driving me mad.
Yeah.
Listen, women have got a place in the game, and the women's game now is as popular, and there's more girls playing anything. I get girls coming to me. Great.
Yeah.
But it's match of the day. It's this. It's talk sport. It's that. Listen, the boxing. There's a woman contract on the box. Now, listen, women in journalism, sport, brilliant, got the place. But is it got to? It's almost now like overkill.
The token one.
Yeah, we've got to have a woman lead journalist on the boxing, a woman lead journalist on the football. Blah 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 blah. Time and a place. But I think now it's almost going the opposite way, where it's getting too much. It's getting too much. I get questions about the England national team, and I remember a good friend of mine, David Kelly, when Hope Powell was in charge. She was in charge a long time, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was,
game. And they were at some managers' conference. It was at Derby or Forest at the time with Billy Davies, and they were at some FA conference. And Hope Powell said, well, it's only going to be a matter of time before a woman breaks into a men's team at pro level. Absolutely deluded. Yeah. Absolutely deluded.
Ain't going to happen, is it?
People won't want to hear that, but there'll never ever be a woman play pro in the men's game.
No.
But they've got women play their own pro game, and there's some great players out there.
Yeah.
So, and the game's never been as popular. But this, why has it all got to cross over?
Yeah, no.
Why has it all got to cross? Brilliant. More power to them. Some of the women now are earning good money, pro contracts. Blues have got a good team. The game's strong, but it doesn't have to. You haven't got to get them in the men's game, and the men haven't got to go into the women's game. It all gets a bit much for me.
Yeah, if you're good enough.
Yeah.
And you get the gig. I don't care if it's a Martian presenting match of the day. If you're good enough, get the gig. If you're knowledgeable enough, but not the token person just because you have to have the quotas. I don't get quotas.
That's how it appears. Yeah. The girl that presents the boxing now, she's talking to Johnny Nelson and all them. No disrespect to her. She's obviously a fantastic journalist, but what does she know about getting punched in the face and going 12 rounds?
Yeah.
And it almost is like that political correctness gone mad.
And in a football sense, that's what it's all about, isn't it? If you have someone, we've said this before, if you had someone with the coaching badges come into the dressing room, then you look up in LZ. Yeah. If you've got someone that's done it, and you've played against them, or you respect them because they're a player, you'll give them that time. And I think with international level, I think you've almost got to be an international football player to manage at international level or be bloody successful.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because obviously you're trying to tell players to do something, and you've never played at that level. But the flip side of that, I played for Bertie Vogts for Scotland. Now Bertie Vogts is a legend. Yeah. Won the World Cup as a player. I think he won the Euros as a manager. One of the worst managers I played. Great fella.
What was he bad at?
He couldn't get to grips with basically the Scotland players couldn't adapt the way the German he'd been used to working with world class players. God, and then he came to Scotland. No disrespect to the lads that were in the squad I was in, but we couldn't do. He'd have ideas and he'd say, right, I want to play like this today. Yeah. And he'd always play someone in a position I'd never played. He tried to play me wing back. I'd never played wing back in my life. So we had a practice game. We were playing Iceland in a qualifier on the weekend, so we went to Hampden. We had a practice game. Yeah. Now, any pro will tell you, when you have a practice game, in the first 11, play against the reserves. Normally, 9 times out of 10, the reserves turn you over. Yeah. And I was getting caught, because I wasn't a defensive-minded player. I was getting caught out of position, this and that. So bear in mind, he'd already told me I was starting at Hampden in the European Championship qualifier. He called me in his room when we got back to Cameron House, so I'm not going to play it, just down to how bad I was in that game. Yeah. But I'm thinking, well, I've never ever played wing back. I've always played either right midfield or off a centre forward. Yeah. And he'd always have to do that. And he couldn't get to. He said, well, when I was in Germany, if I asked so and so to do that, but you're dealing with a completely different level of player. Yeah. There is a flip side to the argument with that.
And also, it's not very good playing your reserves against your first team because they're going to kick lumps out of you. They want your shirts as well, don't they?
We used to, at Blues, it used to be every Thursday. So Thursday you'd always be nervous because you'd know Mark Bowen had come in. He'd say, right, these lads put bibs on. You knew that was a team that was playing Saturday. So if you weren't in, you'd be like, oh, fuck you. So then you go out and you do your set pieces. And Thursday was always a boring day because you'd go through all your set pieces and that. And obviously then you knew you weren't in the team. So you'd get the ump, and if there was a ball there to be, you maybe kick one of the lads or something like that. But they do it, and you'd be amazed how many times you have a game, first team 11, the reserves win. Yeah. The reserves. It's like when you do a crossing and shooting session. 50 crosses in, might only score 3 or 4. It's amazing, really.
Who was the best coach that you worked with?
Oh, there was a few.
What was Bowen like? Did you have any Black as well?
Yeah, Bowen was really good. Kevin Blackwell was really good. Yeah. Frank Barlow was good. At the Blues, I'd probably say Mark Bowen or Frank Barlow. Frank was with Trevor, and to be fair, he had Trevor, Frank, and Mick Mills. Frank used to do everything really on the training pitch. Trevor and Mick never really got that much involved. So. But Mark Bowen was really good.
What makes a good coach? Like you say, like Bowen was good. What made him different to other coaches that wasn't
the
as
lads
good?
Don't get bored.
Okay.
If you get a group of lads and they're bored and they're not enjoying the session, they will make your life hell and they will destroy the session. Yeah. Because by nature, we're all moaners anyway, footballers. We moan about everything. And I am the world's worst. But if you've got an enjoyable session and you like it and it's not boring, that's half the battle. And obviously, or it's a means to an end. You're training on something when you work on and put it into practice in the games. But you do some coaches that I've had down, it'd be that boring, it'd be methodical, and we're going to do this and do that and do that.
Who's the worst at Birmingham for that?
Oh, God, you put me on the spot now. What a boring... Well... Yeah.
It was a boring bastard at the Blues.
No, we never really had a boring one. But when Baz was there, we never really... it was just a free-for-all, so... I mean...
What was his sessions like, Barry?
Baz never used to take him, did he? It was
Halsey and Steen.
It was Edwin Steen and Al. Yeah, it was good, but they had that many players. It was difficult to put a session on when you got 75 players. And it would say it's hard to pick out a really boring one because you always think of the best ones. The ones that are crap, you'd never remember them.
Yeah. A woman took over management of an Italian Serie B team a couple of years ago. She was appointed on merit and unfortunately didn't finish pre-season before leaving. Culturally impossible, so Kev's pretty much along with you as well.
Very difficult. Listen, I'm not in any way, shape or form criticising the women's game. It's never been as good. But I just don't think... These things are never going to happen. It's like when they're saying, well, prove the point there. Because whether you want to accept it or not, if you stick a woman... in at pro level, man's game, whatever, in a dressing room full of men, I just don't think it's going to work.
No, I don't either. Not as big a moaner as Darren Byfield, Dev, Stuart Hamilton said. Was Byfield a moaner?
No, well, we play for the same Sunday team, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Stu, he's there every week, so I'm not there every week. If I'm there every week, I moan more because you think you can, but listen, we all moan. Lads that played with me, horse and people like that, they'll tell you I was the world's worst.
So you were the world's worst moaner. Who was the next worst moaner? Because Claridge was a moaner. Did you play with Steve?
Yeah, played with him at Walsall. Me and him played up front to out Blackpool. I think the average age was the combined age was about 76. Who was the worst moaner? Grange liked to moan. Yeah. They all did.
Who was the biggest comedian then?
Ian Bennett.
Was he?
Ian Bennett, Sav, just absolute crackpots. The goalies are always balmy anyway. But yeah, them pair I'd say.
Mind you, you've got to be mad to go in goal for a start, ain't you?
Yeah, especially when you're only 4'7".
He always says he's 6 foot, but he won't, was he?
He's not on Twitter a lot, Benno, but the odd comment he does put, he always calls me a dwarf, doesn't he? And I always take the mickey saying that he was never 6 foot, but Benno was a great keeper, really good, a great lad as well. Benno was probably one, you never saw Benno without a smile on his face. And he was always up to something, signing the balls, Mickey Mouse or D-Duck, or pulling some sort of practical joke, getting his dog to urine sample for the fitness coach and all stuff, as was Sav. Sav was always had a smile on his face and laughing and joking. And you need them players in the dressing room, you really do, because they keep everyone, they keep you on your toes, they keep you buzzing.
Robbie Savage, didn't they do an April Fool joke on Sav the one year?
Sav, I remember Sav doing one on Birch.
What was that?
Keith Birching. I don't know whether we were leaving it was a Friday, and I think we were leaving for a game somewhere, an away game. So Savs rang Birch. He's gone, Birch, I broke down somewhere. I broke down. And he said somewhere by Leicester. Good drive out from West Hills, like a 40-minute drive. Yeah. He's going, can you come and get me? So Birch's going, yeah. Birch, great fella. Yeah. Birch is like a laugher and a joker as well. Yeah. Real good to have about the place. So Birch is panicking. Now I've got to get him. We're going to leave. He was our main man at the time. Jumped in this guy's shop. Sav's waiting round the corner, and so he didn't get all the way over there, and he weren't there. But Sav was always good for stuff like that.
So we let him travel all the way to Leicester?
Yeah, let him get all the way over there, yeah. And I bet him on, Birch had to be on the coach as well, because Birch was on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
So things like that, and, and by nature, footballers are children anyway.
Yeah.
We're children in men's bodies, so there was always practical jokes, always people taking the piss, always a bit of and it's just that, it's funny, because a lot of people, sometimes when you get a good the dressing room we had with the playoff team, with Granger, with Horse, myself, Benno, Jono, could be a vicious place. Yeah. Because everyone got the piss took out of them. Some players can't take to that. Yeah. And some players can come in and they can't quite handle it. But they were great. I love the dressing room like that. Because you had to burn your toes all the time. If you wore the wrong thing, if you never had someone on that was a bit dodgy, you was getting caned, it was getting pinned up. So anything like that, the lads take the mick.
And again, then as a manager, you've got to bring people into that team, into that dressing room that's got a similar dynamic to them, ain't you? Yeah. Pointless bringing in like Glasgow Rangers that don't get it. You bring someone in that's, that doesn't get on with the lads.
Alou Cisse was a good example. Alou come in, he didn't mix, he didn't take part in anything. And that's why his stay was so short at Blues. And it's a big thing. If you've got a good group of lads that are doing well, and it's that specific type of environment, you have to bring in like-minded people. So it's not just about what you're bringing in on a pitch. It's what you're bringing in. I think that's where Fergie was so good down the years. He did that much background on what's he like as a person. Does he go out? Is he married? Is he quiet? Is he a laugher and a joker? So I think that part of it as well. You do have, if you can, you do have to make them fit in with what you've already got.
What was he like at Wastil's OC? Say, was he a good trainer?
Awful.
Was he really?
Awful. I remember the one day. What he used to do, he'd go away with Senegal. And when you went away on international duty, you obviously get your letter and everything from your governing FA, and it'll say, right, you go travelling on that day, you'll be back on that day. So the manager would say to you, say if you're coming back you're back from wherever you're on Tuesday, right, see you Wednesday, or see you Thursday, whatever. The amount of time he'd come back, he was a day late, 2 days late, and this and that. I remember the one day we were training, doing a bit of fitness work, red hot day at Wastil's. Rolled in, lost count the amount of times he was late.
Really?
Which was, for Brucey, that was a massive thing. Yeah. And to me, I'm still like that. Not mind you being late once.
Exactly.
Twice, come on.
Taking the piss.
When you're late regular, and Brucey always said it's a lack of respect for your team and your teammates when it's a regular occurrence. Yeah. So we're all working mad, with Neil McDermott doing whatever we're doing. Alou comes in and he's late, so all the lads are taking the piss. What time do you call it? Face like thunder, the gaffer. So then he's gone, right, do this. And for whatever reason, he just had his arse in his hand. So he started doing press up. We're all going bang, bang, bang. And he's like just taking the piss, doing it in his own time. Brucey just said, hello. Well, I won't tell you what he said, but he sent him off the training ground. So he just didn't fit in. That's why it makes me laugh when people were linking him with the job. I think if you actually knew what he was like when he was here, you wouldn't be linking him with the job.
Who's he managing now then?
Senegal, isn't it?
Oh, is it the Senegal manager?
Listen, I didn't not get on with him. He was he was the way he was. Yeah. He was quite a sullen, quiet individual. And we were the way we were. I'm not saying he's a bad bloke. He was a good player. He was a good player, but I think that's why he never had a long period of it, because he didn't really integrate with the lads. Ferdinand Coley was useless, but he was a great lad. Do you know what I mean? So it swings and roundabouts.
Who was the agent that brought Ferdinand in?
I tell you what,
must have been a genius.
I desperately wanted him to look after me, because he ended up going to Lazio after us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Ferdinand was a great kid, but he just didn't know what day it was.
He didn't know what his position was. No.
I mean, we train indoors on that AstroTurf, and it was when the first AstroTurf come. It's not like it is now, proper grass. It was just like carpet. So you'd wear your trainers or very, very short moulded studs. He'd have metal studs about that long and be kicking lumps out of everyone. He'd like, hello, no, hang on a minute. You're playing for us, not trying to Ferdinand solid. But he was a great fella. What did he last? Half a dozen games, and I think the club had to give him 400 grand to go. So he swam the channel, Ferdinand, to be honest. But he was a lovely fella, great fella.
Jay said Cisse is one of the most overrated players at the Blues.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know where. Listen, I know he had a tragedy with his family, and as the Blues fans do, they came out in support.
Yeah, I remember
but
that.
I don't know where this hero status comes from with Cisse.
Yeah.
I really, really don't. I do remember him terrifying Sav, though, after one game.
Go on.
Sav was taking the piss and calling this and that in the dressing room. And Lou, right, bear in mind, he never used to try a leg in training, never in the gym, nothing. He had the Batman suit. He was like the most ripped man ever. So it's coming in, Sav's moaning away, and Lou's not saying, and Sav's going, yeah, this man. He just stood up, grabbed him round the throat, fucking lifted him up, had him round the throat there. And I mean, I would imagine Lou's a tough kid. And like sort of gripped him, was thinking about putting one over. Everyone's jumped in, sat it down, and I don't remember Sav going mad at him too many times after that.
Mind you, I mean, for all Sav's gob, he did have a brain in the right place, and it functioned quite well, didn't it, most times?
Underrated player. He was our best player for 2 years, without a shadow of a doubt. Very underrated, as well as the blonde hair and the running around and the antics. Good play.
But do you not think that what Sav gave Birmingham, and it did give us, that work ethic, it rubs off, don't it?
Yeah,
if you see someone like Sav putting it in and running around, you're thinking, I've got to do it myself.
Yeah, because you'd see the blonde hair flowing, and you'd see him a lot of it was pointless, to be honest with you, because it was balls that he was never going to get to. And a lot of the lads who saw, he's just doing that to play to the crowd.
But the crowd loved it.
The crowd loved it. It gives everyone a buzz, and it rubs off. And I think when you bring in players like him, it almost ups the game of other players, because he comes with a bit of profile, doesn't he, and a bit of a reputation. And he was brilliant for us, I think. The way he left was poor, and he's since come out and admitted that. But for the time he was with us, I think he done fantastic.
And off the pitch, he's doing well, isn't he? Now with broadcasting.
Brilliant. I mean, I used to room with him, as you know. Everything he done, his antics on the pitch, his interviews were all geared up. He had a plan where he wanted to be in the media, as he is now. That plan was put in place 10, 15 years ago. Everything was building towards that, and he'll tell you that, and it's worked out brilliant for him.
But that's what I'm saying. Sav always struck me as having his brain engaged most of the time. Chris Sutton, his new sparring partner. Did you ever have any dealings with Chris Sutton?
No, never had anything to do with him, really. I mean, he comes across quite dour at times, doesn't he? But he's quite outspoken, so I don't really know him.
Yeah. Right, I think we're pretty much out of time now, Chris, so we've run over time. We've been extra time, I think, for the last 20 minutes, but we just keep going. That's about it then, mate. I don't think there's anything more to add. We never replace Savage, as Jeanette says. Totally agree. Much better player than he was given credit for, which is what you just alluded to.
Without a doubt.
And I think everybody needs a player like Robbie Savage in that team, because he gets people going. He winds people up, and the opposition hate him, which is always great. And when you hear your name being shouted out in a disparaging manner by the opposition, you've wound them up and you've done your job.
Sav used to thrive on them.
Yeah, exactly. I think I would if I was a player as well. Right, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we're done. Cheers, pal.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Okay.